Sharing so many aspects of physiognomy and appearance, it would seem that snakes have all been made from the same basic blueprint. But appearances can be deceptive. In fact, snakes constitute an incredibly diverse and very specialized group of hunters, some experts in chemical warfare, others in the use of force, and all possessed of sensory perception that is unique within the animal kingdom. Snakes are amongst the most efficient of predators because they're endowed with skills that are most adept for hunting. They boast almost infinite patience. For most of their lives, they can fend off attacks. And beside that, they are utterly nerveless when it comes to the crunch. Judging to perfection the very instant that separates life from death. The result, the most devastating of hunts, coruscatingly fast, culminating in a paralyzing mortal bite or a deadly, suffocating embrace. In the jungles of Papua New Guinea and North Queensland, Australia, it's mating season. And two male green tree pythons silently engage in a territorial duel. The victor's reward, a female who has lured them close with her powerful pheromones. Despite being cold-blooded animals, in matters of love, snakes are very passionate. The king cobra, native to the Indian subcontinent and South and East Asia, is the world's largest venomous snake. It can measure up to 5 meters, with a bite to match its size. Two good reasons for being very careful when it comes to disputes over potential lovers. During the mating season, it's common for males to compete for the favors of a female. But in order to avoid the unnecessary death of male challengers, king cobras in fact carry out ritualized display combats. The adversaries push and entwine each other, competing to see who can gain the higher position, and by extension, the higher status. Ritual skirmishes like this may last for hours, with only the shrewdest and strongest coming out on top, literally and figuratively. The vanquished male must leave the battlefield and slink back to the refuge of the jungle. All over the planet, snakes display similar mating behavior. This is the case in Mexico, with gray-banded king snakes. But before pairing up to mate, this king snake urgently needs a supply of energy. The tongue plays a fundamental role in the life of many ophidians, the reptile group that snakes belong to. It performs functions far beyond merely the sense of taste. Like other reptiles, snakes use it to hunt. Smell particles in the air guide them both to their prey and females in heat. Just a few scent molecules floating in the air are enough for them to discover their prey. And with its hunger now sated, it's time to think about other pressing matters. The process of mating in snakes is complex, delicate, and time-consuming. Pairs engage in a game consisting of biting, rubbing, and tying each other in knots. The choreographed foreplay ends when the male king snake grips the female on the neck while he positions himself on top. This is the immediate prelude to copulation. Then, once the union is completed, male and female will go their different ways. Everything now depends on the female and her mothering instincts. She must find somewhere safe to deposit the eggs that contain the next generation of snakes. And once again, her tongue is a crucial tool. It will help guide her to a place that is ideal in both humidity and temperature. And here, in the darkness of a hole, her role as mother ends. Her offspring will need a lot of luck to survive. Green tree pythons follow more or less the same steps. After pairing, the female looks for somewhere secluded and safe, a forgotten corner of the jungle, possibly the dark hollow of a tree. If she finds a place to her liking, she lays around 20 eggs. And then she'll incubate and watch over her eggs for at least 55 days until they hatch. Pythons, like these green tree pythons, are the only snakes on the planet that take care of their brood in this way. An exemplary, self-sacrificing mother, she will not even eat during this time. All of her attention is on her eggs. Green tree pythons share their territory with another python, the jungle carpet python. The jungle carpet python has conquered more ecological niches than its green relative and is usually the apex predator in the regions of Australia, Indonesia and New Guinea that it inhabits. There it shares its territory with curious natives and small conquerors, such as rats, which have spread across the 5 continents. Jungle carpet pythons tend to live and hunt among the branches of trees, but the abundance of rodents in this territory encourages them to investigate the forest floor. The trace of something very appetizing puts it on alert. A rat. Rats are very intelligent animals, and the danger immediately becomes clear. But although this female has hidden her young inside a tree trunk, she is aware of the high stakes at play. She must take action urgently. Only an emergency evacuation can put the family out of harm's way. It's a fight against the clock to save everyone. But finally, it's a fight she wins. Another member of the clan cannot repress its curiosity. The urge to investigate may be a sign of intelligence, but in this case, it's a very risky one. And on this occasion, curiosity kills the rat. Despite their almost uniform basic physiognomy, snakes have diversified enormously in their behavior so that they can exploit widely differing ecosystems. Some have, in fact, become almost aerial, spending the majority of their lives among the jungle branches, hunting their prey. The bird snake of the jungles of the New World leads an almost exclusively arboreal existence. It's an expert hunting among the trees. But animals are not the object of its hunt. Instead, its diet is based on eggs. It stalks the birds that nest among the jungle branches hoping to be led to their broods of eggs. The bird snake is extremely agile. It can travel along the highest and thinnest of branches. Although such acrobatic feats do not always bring it reward. This time, the nest is empty. There is a potential prize, however, further below. Hidden in the foliage of a palm tree, a turtle dove is holding its ground, trying to keep its composure. Until the very last moment. It's better to lose an egg than your life. Within a week, the turtle dove will have built another nest and will lay 1 or 2 more eggs. And maybe they will have more luck. For now, it's the bird snake that enjoys its reward. Disengaging its jaws, it swallows the egg whole. Thanks to the special shape of its vertebrae, the egg is cracked inside the snake's digestive tract and then digested. Consuming eggs as the main part of your diet is extraordinary among vertebrates, but snakes have gone even further. The world of snakes is a surprising one. Warm equatorial temperatures allow snakes to live life to the full, even in the middle of night. Under the cover of dark, they're less vulnerable, and what's more, it's the best time to seek out the spawning sites of the tree frogs that abound in this part of the rainforest. Night in the tropics is full of sounds and smells. Croaking frogs are everywhere, including the branches of trees. The humidity of the Central American tropics means amphibians can not only move through the branches, but they can also lay their eggs out of water, safe from aquatic predators. But they have not bargained on egg-eating snakes. The graceful, common or rhombic egg-eater, its body like a long, flexible branch. It weighs so little that it can ascend the thinnest of branches until it reaches its goal, the frog's eggs. These snakes are experts in swallowing the eggs and tadpoles that hang from the leaves, where, in theory, they would be unreachable. But these snakes are not greedy, despite their arduous exertions. They do not eat all the eggs they find. By leaving many of them to hatch and grow into adult frogs, they guarantee themselves fresh eggs and more food in the future. In the tropics, the mating season, like everything else, is determined by the rains. In boreal regions, such as on the North American continent, it's the arrival of spring that triggers the mating season. With the first feeble rays of the sun, thousands of snakes emerge from their hiding places. A silent and instantaneous invasion. In Canada, common garter snakes reproduce just after brumation, the reptile equivalent of hibernation. As soon as the long winter sleep ends, mating begins in a frenzy. Females emit an intoxicating hormonal scent with extraordinary consequences. Snakes are usually solitary creatures, but during the mating season, female garter snakes' hormones attract hundreds of males. These can detect the faintest chemical signal and rush to pair with the much larger single female. The competition for the female draws together thousands of individuals. Their only concern, reproduction. But despite the mass siege, only one lucky male will be rewarded with pairing. Meanwhile, in India, the dangerous king cobra female is finishing her nest. The king cobra is the only snake that builds a nest for its eggs. Constructing a nest without the help of hands or a beak is no walk or slide in the park. Patiently and with great skill the king cobra uses her head and body to push leaves and other litter together into a huge mound. Inside the mound, safe from predators and in the warmth generated by the rotting leaves, her brood will grow over a period of almost 3 months. At the same time, in northern Australia, the green tree python young begin to hatch. Before the first hatchlings are fully emerged, the mother abandons the nest she has cared for with such dedication. Better to avoid temptation than devour one of your own young. For a recently hatched snake or neonate, the world is full of wonders and dangers. But young python are able to hunt small prey as soon as they are born. As constrictor snakes, pythons crush their victims with their body in a mortal embrace. This same technique is used by other smaller snakes in the Mediterranean. This is a ladder snake, another constrictor with a strong, muscular body. It roams its neighborhood, sniffing the air until the trace of some rodent piques its interest. The trail leads it right to its prey. Then, in an explosive attack, it launches its whole body at the rodent. An anchoring bite. A deathly squeeze. In a fraction of a second, the ladder snake turns from spring to arrow to noose, and soon its suffocated prey succumbs. So while these snakes are not venomous, they are no less dangerous to their targets. Snakes shed their skin when they need to grow a little, sloughing off the exterior layer of epidermis. They look for somewhere quiet and protected to carry out their molt. This is when they are at their most defenseless. And so they hide in cool, dark, and safe places. Not even a potential meal like this curious mouse is welcome. Now is not the time for food. Small snakes are especially vulnerable when shedding their skin. And no one knows that better than snakes themselves. Some of the most venomous and lethal snakes are experts in hunting their relatives. A Central American coral snake. The coral snake's neurotoxic venom is astonishingly quick-acting. Snake's venom is a chilling evolutionary adaptation that makes them one of the most lethal animals on the planet. It works by paralyzing its victims so the snake can swallow them whole. The toxic venom is in fact saliva, chemically altered and modified for hunting. Snake venom is produced and stored in the salivary glands and is a very effective means of rendering quick or slippery animals incapable. A coral snake can even swallow a relative as long as itself, albeit with a fair amount of effort. With such potent poison, snakes have no need of powerful legs or dexterous paws and claws. But some snakes boast other unique capabilities. They have an extra sense, a heat detector located in loreal pits below their eyes. It's the most sensitive and efficient thermosensor in the animal world. The eyelash viper, from the Crotalus genus of snakes and a native of the rainforests of the New World, makes effective use of this sensitive secret weapon. Like other very poisonous snakes, it makes no effort to go unnoticed. Its scaled skin is a bright yellow color. The coloration acts as a warning to its neighbors in the jungle. No one dares to confront an animal that so openly announces how dangerous it might be. Being so conspicuous, it cannot hide from its potential victims. So it must hunt with patience and stillness, its only assets if it's not to be discovered before time. It only attacks when an unsuspecting animal, trusting its own camouflage, approaches. This Anolis lizard is too distracted by the presence of a rival in heat. The snake detects the Anolis, warmed by the sun, thanks to its heat-detecting organs. The eyelash viper has only one opportunity. So it must make it count. The venom is injected into the lizard very quickly, and immediately it is immobilized. Now it can be eaten. The eyelash viper's fangs work as syringes to inject its prey with venom. But they are also useful as claws or hooks to help hold and ingest the snake's well-earned meal. As well as cautionary colors, venomous snakes have another way of warning those around them of their presence. A rattle. Not even a fearless cougar dares ignore the unmistakable sound of a rattlesnake's tail. Rattlesnakes also have heat sensors. These allow them to hunt during the darkest of nights. Rodents are their main target. Snakes are probably the most effective rodenticides in the world. They're relentless, efficient rat and mouse hunters. And thanks to them, tens of thousands of rodents are eliminated every day. Rattlesnakes have the advantage when hunting in the middle of the night. Scent molecules captured on the tongue alert the snake to a nearby prey. The viper's thermal pits then detect its presence, movements, and proximity. It's just a matter of patience and a good aim. An unsuspecting rodent is walking straight into the jaws of hell. The stillness of the rattlesnake allowing the innocent mouse to approach without fear. And the snake launches itself. Injecting its meal with a lethal dose of venom. In barely a few seconds, the rodent is swallowed and will be completely disintegrated thanks to the snake's venom and gastric juices. Snakes' potent digestive capabilities compensate for their lack of teeth to tear and crush their prey. But not all venomous snakes advertise their poisonous powers. The Gaboon viper has opted for camouflage. This species prefers not to announce its mortal intentions with colors or sounds. Instead, in order to survive in the equatorial jungles of Africa where it lives, it prefers to go unnoticed. This is the heaviest viper on the planet, with the longest fangs, almost 6 centimeters in length. The beautiful design of its camouflage allows it to wait motionless in ambush anywhere in the jungle leaf litter. Patience is its secret weapon. The gaboon viper's venom is extremely dangerous. A single bite imparts up to 600 milligrams of venom, enough to kill an elephant very quickly. On this occasion, however, a smaller dose is deemed sufficient. It would be a waste to use so much precious venom on a lowly forest rat. In Australia, meanwhile, a young green tree python flees from a bad-tempered cassowary. Like almost all snakes, it takes several years for green tree pythons to reach adulthood, and until that time, they are very vulnerable. Despite their predatory behavior, all snakes must know how to choose between attack and retreat, according to the circumstances. And slinking out of sight and potential danger is often the best policy. The jungle ecosystem is very favorable to smaller snakes that are less imposing than boas or pythons. Though small, they have also developed specialized hunting skills. The slim black-banded snake is a trickster. Its bright colors intentionally mimic the venomous coral snake, but it is in fact absolutely harmless. The black-banded snake lives among the leaf litter of the jungles of Central America. There it spends its life, roaming, sniffing, searching. Forever on the lookout for its favorite food, tropical centipedes. The black-banded snake is specialized in eating these centipedes. So while it's one of the most specific diets in the animal kingdom, it has its advantages. A total absence of competition. The centipede's extremely painful bite protects it from most hunters. But the scales on the black-banded snake's head are especially hard, rendering it immune from the terrible bite of the centipede. The keeled slug-eating snake can capture and extract mollusks from their shells. Snails are an abundant resource in the rainforests of South America, but there are very few animals capable of taking advantage of them as food. The slug-eating snake does not need to be fast to hunt. There is little chance that its meal will get away. Sometimes it even comes straight to the dinner table of its own accord. But eating snails is not as easy as it might seem. So the slug-eating snake's jaws have adapted to move laterally, and with a very delicate technique can extract the snail's creamy body from its shell. The life of all snakes is full of hazards. Despite their being high-ranking hunters, there's no guarantee of survival. So the young green tree pythons must proceed with caution. Despite their reputation for ruthlessness and aggression, they are by no means indestructible. Of a brood of 20, no more than 2 or 3 will survive. Dangers are all around. A kookaburra decides to snack on one of this year's green python hatchlings. Snakes, for all their venom, their extraordinary senses, and their powerful adaptable bodies, remain very vulnerable. Not even the greatest of nature's hunters know exactly how the dice will roll. But thanks to its skill, guile, and will to live, this little green python will fight and hunt another day. All across the world, a very special hunting heritage survives within the bounds of strictly governed clans. Clan law is rigid and clearly defined to all from very young. All learn the same rules, expressed through a complex ritual of signals, postures, noises, games, and punishments. Efficiency in the wolf pack derives from the top. One leader exerting absolute power and making absolute decisions rules them all. And whoever does not comply, better beware. Northern Hemisphere wolves live in packs that are as efficient as a military command unit, capable of bringing down much larger and more powerful animals. The success of the pack is founded both on teamwork and on the characteristics of its individuals. Canids, the broad family of canines, are athletic, determined hunters, as fast as they are resilient. And even when it comes to mating and reproduction, the law of the clan is paramount. Among Iberian grey wolves, only the alpha couple, the leader of each sex, mates. The pair isolates itself from the pack to enjoy a brief but intense nuptial period. If the female becomes pregnant, she will take herself off to a safe place to give birth and care for her new litter. But canids are not only found in the Northern Hemisphere. They have also conquered more southerly lands. Across the continent that is their home, African wild dogs, also known as painted wolves, hunt in well-organized family units. They establish their extensive territories across the savannah, launching hunting raids against the variety of fauna of the open plains. painted wolves are unified by complex bonds. But communication and relationships within their hierarchy is neither as rigid nor as aggressive as that of Iberian wolves. Their games and moments of physical contact, such as licking, seem to be the very opposite of violent. Demonstrations of friendship such as these unite the group before it sets off on their long and bloody hunt. When the whole clan is in agreement, the leaders launch the sortie. In a few moments, the attack unit is in place, moving as a single, perfectly organized entity in search of its next victim. As spring arrives in the Northern Hemisphere, from North America to Europe and Asia, wolves are preparing to usher a new generation into the world. This pregnant female is still looking for somewhere to give birth to her litter, such as this safe, comfortable cave. Tonight, there is a full moon. This will almost certainly be the moment. Blind and helpless, wolf cubs depend exclusively on maternal protection, milk, and warmth for several weeks. From the very first moments of their lives, a close family bond is established. Although canids are generally group predators, a few species prefer to lead more solitary lives. This is the case on the delta of the River Danube, where golden jackals roam on lone expeditions. There, in territories where wolves are extinct, the golden jackal takes advantage of this power vacuum. Instead of hunting, it will very often be satisfied with corpses the river throws up. But the task of retrieving the booty is not as easy as it seems. The jackal must first locate the fish buried in the sandy riverbank, and then dig to get it out. golden jackal may weigh only 10 to 15 kilos, but it competes with all kinds of predators and opportunists. Despite its size, this is a fully fledged hunter. It has all the usual canine armory, a long snout housing a prodigious sense of smell. Strong teeth and powerful fangs, and a muscular, agile physique. Added to these physical advantages, it has also evolved a very combative and almost permanently bad-tempered character. All of which serve it well when in pursuit of a succulent snack. Carrion crows are insistent, bothersome, and difficult to drive off. The jackal himself must be as determined as the crows if he's to get his portion of fish. If hungry enough, he will even face up to an opponent as imposing as a white-tailed eagle. A single blow from the eagle's massive beak would severely injure the jackal. But the jackal has his own impressive set of defenses, not least his natural aggression. The tactics that all canines employ are intelligent and very varied, as is the case with the red fox. His fabled reputation as a sneaky, or at least cunning opponent, is well deserved. This fox is on expedition. Using his keen eyes, their characteristic vertical pupils, and his wet nose, he explores all corners of his territory. Unlike wolves, foxes do not form packs, preferring to hunt in solitary silence with the stealth of a sniper. In his investigation of his territory, he literally follows his nose. Like all canids, he has an extraordinary sense of smell. It guides him to a possible lunch. But no, this is too spicy, or spiky, for the discerning fox's tastes. But a moment later, a new aroma is in the air. This territory is full of possibilities. A mouse. This will be a genuine test of the fox's agility. Thanks to its perspicacity and ecological flexibility, the red fox is the most abundant and widely distributed carnivore on the planet. Its prey are never large, but they are very varied. The red fox's success is a direct result of its ability to adapt to the most disparate environments and foods, including plants, fruit, and carrion. Canids have conquered almost all terrestrial ecosystems, their bodies evolving to be at home on mountains, deserts, or plains. One of the oddest canines inhabits the dry plains and woodlands of Brazil. The maned wolf. The maned wolf moves like a whisper in the night, a golden ghost in the shadows of the moon. It's one of the strangest and most discreet hunters on the planet. On its disproportionately long legs, it seems to walk on wobbly stilts. But its long limbs allow it to observe its territory over the tall, dense vegetation. These long legs also enable it to head off on long walks in search of food. Like the fox, the maned wolf is also a lone hunter that feeds on the small animals found on the prairies. But it is mostly vegetarian, and thanks to this canine's predilection for it, this shrub is known as the wolf apple. Its fleshy fruits are the maned wolf's favorite meal. In fact, this sweet fruit accounts for almost 60% of its diet. When the fruit is mature, the maned wolf will eat them from the ground with barely a pause. The strange diet of the maned wolf is, then, a clear and excellent evolutionary adaptation to life on the South American tropical savanna. The wolf packs further to the north need more protein than their southern relatives. And that need is even more imperative when there are demanding, ever-hungry cubs to feed. While the cubs are still too young to dare leave the den, it's time for their mother to stretch her legs and go in search of sustenance. Fortunately, at this time of year, food is plentiful. That said, it's not always easy to catch it. Perhaps a baby boar would be a good option. But this little one is too fast. The herd disappears, but one immature, inexperienced boar, too sure of himself, is left behind. A young boar, even when barely a year old, is a tough rival. But once the game of life and death has begun, the wolf is unwilling to give up the fight. The young boar is prepared to defend himself with all his energy. A serious injury would put the she-wolf's life at risk and endanger the future of her litter. But for such a reward, she's determined to fight to the end. The young boar decides to take refuge in the bushes, but it's a fateful decision. There is no way out. The red fox and the wolf share the same territory, but exploit different resources and at different times. Wolves might devour the vixen or her pups if they found them. But for now, the family of smaller canines is safe. Sometimes, however, the interests of wolves and foxes overlap. Then it becomes a dangerous matter for a fox, like this one, who is first to discover the corpse of a roe deer. It knows it must eat in a hurry before the wolf pack takes possession of the prize. Every opportunity must be exploited to the maximum, especially now with a young family to raise. The fox cubs, or kits, emerge from the burrow to meet their mother and, more importantly, to feed. They don't even give her time to lie down comfortably. cubs are not yet ready to leave the safety of the den, and so they wait for their mother to return from her hunting expedition. But even at only 3 weeks old, with their eyes now open, the social structure of the new generation will be shaped. Even at this early stage of life, the cubs form very strong bonds, and their sense of the pack develops quickly. Through play and mock fighting, the social status of each puppy is established. Safe inside their cave, they face the first of many life tests to define the position each will hold within the pack. While some will stay with their parents and some of last year's siblings to form a new pack, others will travel in search of new territories. Meanwhile, on the plains of Africa, the herd of wild dogs functions with the perfection of a well-trained platoon. The hunt has begun. Almost nobody is safe from this pack. Anyone might be their next victim. Fear spreads like a rumor across the savannah. They are elite long-distance athletes capable of maintaining a steady pace for more than an hour by taking turns in leading the pursuit. No rival can hold off such an insistent rhythm indefinitely. Once the prey has been brought down, its death is immediate. The pack eats quickly and in what seems like chaos. Hierarchy in wild dog packs is very relaxed and democratic. They do not display the aggressive strictness found among the wolves of the north. In fewer than 20 minutes, the warthog's corpse is devoured. All that remains is some skin and the head. Each painted wolf eats between 2 and 6 kilos of fresh meat every day. Given the efficiency of the hunt, with between 60 and 90% of expeditions ending successfully, the wild dog's daily ration of meat is practically guaranteed. This strike rate is a true record among predators. All canines are good hunters. From very young, they train for survival, and their role as predators is crucial in all habitats where they're found. Canids are responsible for limiting populations of deer, rabbit, and rodents in many terrestrial ecosystems. But hunting is no easy matter. That's why these cubs are about to receive a lesson from Mother Wolf. The cubs, now 2 months old, are heading off on their first hunt, in the company of their ever-present mother. Each new discovery is an adventure and a distraction. Concentration is required. Food is today's objective. Their mother guides them as they learn to find traces of their prey, be they smells or tracks. A small prey like a rabbit is an ideal way to start. These are too fast for the inexperienced cubs. But not for their mother. The mature wolf does not let any opportunity to learn slip by. Although the hunt has ended, the class continues. The young wolves must also learn etiquette, who is who, and how to behave at the dinner table. The most dominant wolves present always eat first, in this case, the mother herself. The classroom is no place for complaining grunts or biting. And yet, it is precisely now that the different character of each cub is demonstrated. The boldest, the most perseverant cub is prepared to take the admonition of its mother. It wants its share of the booty. The little wolf endures the scolding until it sees its chance to eat. And its mother rewards its tenacity by letting it eat alone. This cub might well be already on the road to becoming the leader of a new pack. On the other side of the world, in the heart of India, other canids live. Now, they're resting. Dholes, also known as Asiatic wild dogs or mountain wolves, among other names, live in herds like many of their cousins, but with a relatively flexible hierarchy. Dhole society is very relaxed, and power struggles are rare. The dominant pair goes virtually unnoticed. Unlike wolves, they do not perform displays of dominance. But it is possible to identify the pack leaders through the clearly submissive behavior of the other members of the clan towards them. Social harmony seems to be an almost permanent aspect of their reigns. That said, in the mornings, as hunger becomes more of an issue, the peaceful family atmosphere is invaded by a certain degree of stress. But even when they are hungry and the hunting instinct rises among the clan, aggression is almost unheard of. In fact, the opposite is true. And before each hunt, complex social rituals are performed by all the members of the group, in which bodies are rubbed against each other in mock copulation. The purpose of this behavior is to underline the strength of the social bonds between them before the whole pack begins the hunt. And now it is underway. Despite their kindly nature amongst themselves, dholes are fearful hunters. A dhole pack is easily capable of killing wild boar and deer, and even much bigger animals than they are, such as buffalo. They patrol the forest in search of a solitary potential prey. Instead, they've found a family of deer drinking at a small lake. The fawn would seem to be the best option. But its parents will not hesitate to defend their offspring at all costs. Dholes will often drive their prey into water in order to reduce its movement and power. But this family of deer seems to become stronger and more confident in the little lake. The doe kicks and charges, putting the dhole on the back foot. This pack does not seem to be working with the greatest of efficiency. Faced with the determination of the young deer's parents, the dhole pack decides to look for another victim. Finally, the family of deer can flee to the safety of the forest. Distant forest interiors are home to other, smaller and much more timid wild canines. The culpeo, or Andean fox, lives a solitary life in the South American mountain range that gives it its name. This little fox is so small, weighing no more than 7 or 8 kilos, that it moves easily and securely through the bushes, cat-like in its comfort. Few canids exploit ecosystems as complicated and intractable as these labyrinthine dry woodlands so efficiently. The dry forest is a safe place, offering the little fox protection from pumas and at the same time the opportunity to hunt its own prey. The culpeo's attacks are fast and determined and often decisive, resulting in a kill. Here in the Andean highlands, an abundance of small vertebrates allows the indigenous fox to prosper without too many problems. The Andean fox can well adapt to the variety of landscapes and ecosystems found in the Andes, from desert to moorland, thanks mainly to the two golden rules canines live by. Eat anything and make your home anywhere. The woodlands of the Iberian Peninsula are also very tangled environments. It's the end of summer in the Northern Hemisphere, and the grey wolf cubs are now fully integrated into the pack. They are strong and energetic and have already learned how to work as a team. Each one has its place in the strict hierarchy of the clan, and each one must act accordingly to his or her ranking. And this is never more important than now, when hunger bites, and only the coordinated efforts of everyone will bring the next victim down. With their perfectly disciplined packs, wolves are capable of killing large, powerful, and aggressive animals, even those who know how to defend themselves. The pack is on the move, looking for clues that will lead them to possible prey. From its pungent scent, the wolves detect the presence of a boar nearby. And they don't take long to find it. launches its final unified attack, the boar runs for cover in the forest. This may be its last chance of survival. They are too much for this wild boar, and the pack will feast today. Wolves are a supreme example of cooperative hunting, their efficiency based on hierarchy within a pack that demands loyalty. Each individual rigorously follows the code, the unwritten law that provides stability to the pack, allowing it to function as a perfect, efficient hunting machine, and thus ensuring the survival of each member of the group and the continued success of these remarkable canine hunters.